It's a lot of opening and closing.
Closed trails and campgrounds, the site of winter at the Shenandoah National Park on Friday.
You do what Mother Nature allows you to do.
This time it did not allow Robert Vitello to visit Skyline Drive.
We're a little disappointed, but we're sure that mostly we just wanted to get some fresh air and some exercise. So Plan B is not a big problem.
He's turning around to hike another trail. Snow and ice are shutting down some of the trails at the Shenandoah National Park. 5,000 fewer people made their way through gates just like this one this January compared to last January. 4 trails also remain closed after a wildfire last week. This may not affect the park as much during an already slow season.
We expect that winter is going to be less visited because of a winter like this.
Less visitors to the park and less visitors to Artisan's Grill.
When it's slow and then the weather impacts that, it just makes it slower yet. So you have to, make hay while the sun shines.
Spokeswoman Karen Beck Herzog hopes for the same. Sunshine means business is back to normal.
In terms of that revenue loss, something like this will fluctuate. So we may see a much better April, in which will then really cancel out this past January.
In the Shenandoah National Park, Stephanie Escobar, WHSV.
Parents who work rely on after-school care. Students look forward to after-school care as well. Good evening, everyone. I'm Allison Bruner.
And I'm John Rogers. Thanks for joining us tonight. That program is in jeopardy. WHSV Stephanie Escobar explains why Beyond the Bell could end at the end of the school year.
Pam Yates checks her daughter's homework after school.
That looks really good.
Dora is one of 120 students who does her homework and other activities at an after-school program called Beyond the Bell.
I think she's met her daily goals much more consistently because of that.
The program may not continue next school year. A federal grant pays for Beyond the Bell, but that money runs out at the end of this school year.
I think they shouldn't take Beyond the Bell away because it really helps kids with their grades and it helps them improve on their scores.
Beyond the Bell needs $300,000 to run the program here at Thomas Harrison Middle School and Skyline. Parents and students have asked the school board for money, not once, but twice.
We will fund after-school programming through our current budget, but there is no intention to pick up a federal grant.
While Beyond the Bell is not included in the next year's budget so far, other after-school programs are. Dr. Scott Kisner says the district would start a program similar to Beyond the Bell.
We have a responsibility to our community to not only have high-quality programs, but do it in a cost-efficient way.
I don't know what the new program would be. There's a big kind of learning curve or organization once you try to do something new, rather than improve something that you already have.
In Harrisonburg, Stephanie Escobar, WHSV. Secondary roads could still be slick tomorrow, especially on hills and curves. On Monday, Rockingham County neighbor Virgil Wenger helped pull a car out of a ditch near Nicey Hill on Pike Church Road.
Not normally, but it can. It's a sloped road and it's really bad there for that reason because they slide in the ditch. Once they start sliding, they just slide off the edge.
But this site is normal for him.
Every year we end up having a couple people here whenever it snows.
The Virginia Department of Transportation added a brine mix on Monday to break the ice. Crews will add sand to hills and curves overnight. This will help add more traction to the roads. Salt and chemicals are out of the question because of low temperatures. The dropping temperatures are a concern for Chris Vaya. We found him at a gas station, one of the few stops he made Monday night. Tuesday he plans to stay off the roads.
It's cold tonight, so I believe that all this stuff is going to freeze over. Yeah, it's going to be really slicker than today probably.
The freezing of the roads could lead to some black ice, something Vaya will rather avoid.
It ain't worth somebody else's life or hurting anybody else. So the best thing to do in weather like this is stay at home.
VDOT says if you're traveling tomorrow to give yourself extra time or avoid the roads if possible. In Rockingham County, Stephanie Escobar, WHSV.